What's up, YouTube? Back at it again with another banger video. This time we're taking a look at one of my favorite series of all time, Usagi Yojimbo. I feel like I say that a lot, that this is my favorite series, but this really is one of my favorite series of all time. I've probably got more issues of this than any other book. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. Instead of just looking at one issue, I pulled two different issues from two different eras of this book, and we're going to be comparing the art style and how it's changed over the years. I'm not going to be saying that one is inherently better than the other. I'll let you decide that. Ultimately, it just comes down to taste and whatever you prefer. But there's 28 years separating these two issues of Usagi Yojimbo. So, of course, the artist Stan Sakai, he's developed a lot, and his art style has evolved a lot from when he began. So I thought it would just be fun to compare that and note the differences. So let's begin. This first issue we're going to look at is Usagi Yojimbo number 8. It's published by Fantagraphic Books, written and drawn by Stan Sakai in the year 1987. So this is about 3 years after Usagi's been created. So very early in the run still. And let me start by saying that while the art style has changed significantly throughout the years, the writing has always been on point. While he does do well at writing multi-issue arcs, I feel like he really shines at doing these one-and-done adventure types of stories. So this is an example of that. It's called A Mother's Love. Usagi, he's a wandering ronin, a masterless samurai, and he comes across this old lady. She's in the mountains, and he stops and has lunch with her, and he offers to help her down the mountain. He gives her a piggyback ride and carries her back into town, where they see this big guy. He's beating up the townspeople. He's collecting money. So we find out that this old woman, her son, is a money lender in this village. And he's hired these people to collect debts from the townsfolks. So the townspeople do not like this old lady and her family. They blame her for what her son's been doing and kind of ruining the town. He's taxing everyone to death. She mentions in the beginning that her husband, who's passed away now, that he was the one who started this lending service, and that he was always fair with the people. But when he died and his son took over, he charged way too high interest, and it's just been killing the town. So that's why everyone hates this lady. And Usagi, he has this like little dinosaur. Since the characters in Usagi Yojimbo are drawn as animals, Stan Sakai chose to draw the animals as dinosaurs. So whenever you see like a little lizard or dinosaur, it just represents, a small animal. What's funny about that is that there's horses too. The horses aren't dinosaurs. Like, the horses are horses, but there's no horse people in Usagi Yojimbo. I don't know. It's an inconsistency, but we'll just look past it for now. So this is where Usagi, he meets the son for the first time, and the son is a jerk. He slaps his mom around, and he tells Usagi to get lost. Usagi just stares him down, and he's like, "Fine, you can stay the night." So Usagi does not like the son at all, and the son is becoming jealous of Usagi because he can tell that his mother prefers Usagi, and she wishes that, Usagi was her son. And she even says as much. Usagi even starts calling her mother as a nickname. She talks about how sweet her son was when he was little, and how he's grown up to just be an evil, rotten young man. She even asks Usagi to kill her son. She's like, "Will you kill my son?" And he says, "I'm not a sellsword. I'm not an assassin." That would go against his code. She He's offended that she would even ask that of him. So as he's walking her back home, she asks him to come to dinner that night. And he agrees. And that night when he shows up, there all these guards, these hired swords that the son is hired to collect the money, they meet Usagi outside the house and they attack him. Usagi has no option but to defend himself. And even his little dinosaur friend Spot, he hops in and strangles a few of them. So Usagi rushes in. He flings open the door. He's afraid that the son has killed the mom out of jealousy. But what he sees, he's shocked that it's the other way around. The mom has killed the son. And she confesses that she used Usagi. She says that she had told her son that Usagi was a hired assassin come here to kill him. And that's why all those guards came out to fight Usagi. And while she was alone with her son, she stabbed him in the back and killed him. And now the guilt has gotten to her. She can't bear to live with herself after killing her only son. So she asks Usagi to kill her. She says she's too weak to do it herself. She says she brought evil into the town and now she's taking it out. She starts singing him a lullaby. And as she reaches the end of the song, it's cut short. And we get a beat of nothing. And then we see Usagi coming out with his head in his hands. So he gave her her wish and he put her out of her misery. Which is a cold way to end a story, especially like a funny little story you expect with, you know, animal characters. You don't expect the hero of the book to do a mercy killing by the end, but that's what happens. That's Usagi Yojimbo. So let's move on to the second issue. So skipping ahead 28 years, we arrive in the year 2015, and this is Usagi Yojimbo number 149, published by Dark Horse Comics. It's still done by Stan Sakai, written and drawn as always by Stan Sakai. Tell right away that this is a newer copy because of the color of the paper is so different. So this one starts with Usagi. He's leaving this inn here, and he sees a procession going through town. This long line of people carrying this little box that I forget what's that called. A palanquin. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's what, you know, people would be carried around in. You know, the rich people or the king or queen or whatever, who when they would travel, they would be in that little box. You see it in Game of Thrones, but that's what I know it from. But he's seeing this big long line of samurai walking through town. They're on Lord Akagawa's business. They're traveling down the same direction of the road as Usagi, so he decides that he'll follow them. He says, surely there won't be any bandits if I travel along with this big group of samurai. You know, we'll be safe. And you turn the page. That's exactly what happens. There's a big group of bandits that attack. And there's a huge battle. Usagi gets involved. He starts fighting off the bandits. They're trying to protect this palanquin. All of the samurai, except for the leader, are killed. So it's just Usagi and this leader guy. His name's Yoshi. They're the only ones left. The guy Yoshi, he says, well, since you're involved now, I guess you'll have to help me finish this mission since it's just us. So they set up the palanquin. He opens it up and reveals that there's no one in it. It's just a package. And he said that the reason that they were carrying that any bandits who may be tempted to rob them would see that they were just like a convoy escorting a person and not something of value. What they were really hiding is this rock, this special rock that is called the Toyama Ishi, which is Japanese for distant mountain stone. And he says that his master is interested in the art of suseki, the art of stone appreciation. Usagi says he's heard of it. So he's carrying this rock that his master has paid a third of his wealth to obtain. But they say it doesn't look special at all. It just looks like a normal rock to most people. He says, the stone may look common to you, but not to the trained eye. It is clear you have no eye for the finer things. So he kind of insults Usagi a little bit. But then Usagi says, oh, does it look special to you? And Yoshi says, no, it just looks like a normal rock. But, you know, he does it for his master because his master asked him to. So no matter what he thinks, he's going to do it. So they travel along the road, and they come across more bandits. They're being watched. They see reeds moving in the water. These guys burst up out of the stream and attack them. So they fight off these bandits, and at the end, Yoshi gets stabbed. And he asks Usagi to carry on the mission to get the rock to his master. So Usagi, he fights off the rest of these guys. During the battle, though, he's holding this stone in this bag, and one of the bandits cuts the bag just above the rock. So the rock falls out and it lands on the ground on these other stones by the riverbed, and it cracks and it destroys this precious stone. So they all stop fighting. There's no reason to continue fighting. All the bandits leave, and Usagi's left there with the broken stone, and he's not really sure what to do. But he decides that he has to at least, tell the Lord Akagawa, that Yoshi died, and that the mission failed. So he goes there. He gets let in. He mentions that he's completing the mission for Yoshi. He meets this Lord Akagawa, and he tells him that Yoshi's son has died, and that all the other samurais, they perished in this battle, all to get him that rock. And he doesn't seem to care at all. He says he deserved to die, the fool. I should have sent someone more capable. And he says, oh, you should be proud that he fought so hard to get you your stone. He said he sent me to complete his mission. And he says, you have the stone? Toyama Ishii? He says, give it to me, give it to me. He only cares about getting this rock. That it's just a rock. He could care less about, his people dying. So Usagi, he gives him this stone. We see the stone's not broken anymore. And he says, exquisite, awe-inspiring. It's so beautiful. And he puts it up on a pedestal. And he says that it's going to be an heirloom in his clan. And that he'll meditate next to it every day. He can feel the deity from the stone. And, of course, we, the audience, know that Usagi just picked up a stone from that riverbed, and that it's not the special stone. The Lord says, this is truly worth all that I paid for it. And Usagi replies with, including the lives of Yoshi, your loyal retainer, and all the lives of the samurai who gave their lives for your rock. And he's dismissed, no reward. The guy's very greedy, and he's leaving. And the guard outside the front gate says, man, I wish I could see that stone. He's like, but I'm never going to get a chance to go into Lord Akagawa's private chamber and see this special stone that he paid so much money for. And Usagi says, well, if you want to see what it looks like, just go down to the river, and there's thousands of them. And that's how it ends. So the most obvious difference to me in the way these books are drawn is, of course, the design of the main character, Usagi. In the older book, he's more round, he's shorter, he's more cutesy. As the book went on, he got taller, skinnier, more angular. I think it's funny because Usagi Yojimbo is often compared and related to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because they were created around the same time. And there have been crossovers. So they're closely associated. And the Turtles also follow the same trajectory where they start out kind of small, cutesy looking, and then as time goes on, they get taller and more angular. I just think that that's a weird coincidence, or a funny coincidence, I should say. It just goes to show how tastes change as time progresses and how these trends happen. Another change that I've noticed looking at these two books, the older book has a lot more line work in it. There's more hatching, cross-hatching, stippling. You're seeing more patterns. In the newer book, it's just it's more, you know, straight black and white. There's less value created by the hatching, because when you're working with just black ink, doing these different textures and these different patterns can create gray values, and that's how you create value in your page. So when you're not using those patterns, there's less gray value within the page, and that's what you're seeing with this newer book. I'm sure one of the reasons that he's kind of moved away from that is that it's more time consuming. You're doing more lines on the page. It's going to eat up more time. So this more clear style is probably faster to do. Also, I'm noticing the line weight is much different. It's probably because he's using different tools. I can't imagine he's using the same tools that he was using 28 years ago. But there seems to be a more expressive, like a looser line in this newer book, whereas the older book was more restrained. Also, he's using very thick lines in the foregrounds to separate foreground from background. When you don't really have those gray values, you know, I guess you have to rely on other means to separate foreground, background. As I said before, the writing in both of these stories are great. I don't feel like the writing has ever dipped in any way. Well, there you have it. There's a look at an old issue and a slightly less old issue of Usagi Yojimbo. I hope you enjoyed it, and I could not recommend this book enough. It really is one of the best comics that's still being made out there today, and recommend you go pick it up, whatever issue. And since most of the stories are standalone, you can really buy any issue and not have to worry about it being part of a larger story. You know, even the stories that are multiple parts are usually no longer than 3 parts long. So it's a great book just to pick up and read. If you like this video, please press like, smash that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.